Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. We want to start on the daily time frame. Today we have a few red candles. That was pretty much expected also with Bitcoin, so Solana is just following along. We want to talk about which micro support levels need to hold when things start to break down potentially, Overall, we still are in a very, very similar situation. I shared with you yesterday and the days before my next target here around the 1.5 extension, around $71.20. That's the next target. It doesn't need to reach. It already did everything it needed to do in this current third wave that we're dealing with, yeah? So anything higher than this is basically nice to have, but it's still in a range where extensions are not uncommon. So if we really follow our wave count along, then, or if you followed it along, then you know that the move down between June and July was a wave 1. The move down was a wave 2. The move up here is seen as a wave 3. It has to be an ABC structure because the move in July was ABC. So the wave 3 has to be ABC. We are dealing with a diagonal in a C wave, a so-called ending diagonal pattern. Diagonal doesn't mean it is a weak trend. Diagonal simply means we're dealing with a little bit of a messy structure. Pullbacks might be a bit deeper, things like that. We have to consider that, and we have to give up on some of the precision that we normally deal with in an impulse, which makes impulses very easy. Now, the good news is that we're currently moving in an impulse in the third wave. Now, how does that work? Well, I just told you that the third wave is an ABC structure, A, B, C, but the C wave is an impulse. So that's what makes it very easy at the moment. Yeah, I've been highlighting to you that we can still push higher against our relevant support levels are holding. So basically what we do, we cannot predict at which extension level exactly a C wave, for example, or any impulse will stop. But what we do normally, we assume extensions are happening and then we just roll up the stop or roll up basically our support areas, which we did, and they did constantly hold throughout this entire process from down there, okay, from basically October, from the October lows. And that basically guided us all higher. Okay, first of all, to the minimum extension, which was around, oh dear, where was that? Was that around $46 something? And now we have reached the ideal extensions, yeah, around $64. That was the 1.38. We normally say that the third wave, if we are dealing with a diagonal, the third wave would ideally reach sort of the 1.38 extension. Anything higher now is sort of nice to have, not a must. And we're dealing with 71.20 as next target, 79.50, and maybe even $93. Now, ideally, it's topping somewhere in this region. Ideally, it really is topping in somewhere in this region where we had a pause before a break. This was sort of just reaching the minimum. Now it's reached the ideal levels, okay? And we are still going to track micro support levels to understand when it could still, when can we expect basically that pullback in this wave 4, which is part of that ending diagonal, because we've got 3 waves up at the moment. A C wave, however, has 5 waves. So we're watching for a wave 4 to happen at some point, and then the wave 5. So the wave 4 could never be confirmed because so far our micro support levels did hold, okay? But as soon as micro support levels are breaking, we can track then the beginning of the wave 4. It's too early to say that it's starting now, but of course, the risk has increased the higher it goes, right? The risk will increase at some point because technically speaking, I mean, we obviously, when we get further extensions, the key support for this wave 4 will move further and further away. Yeah, it's just like a spring. You see these fib zones, they extend. So it's like a spring. But hey, 34.40 is really key bullish support. So if we get that deep pullback, and that might be when Bitcoin starts its wave 2, okay? If you know about that when you watch the Bitcoin videos that we produce. 34.40 is key bullish support for this fourth wave. But if we look at the micro perspective, then we could still extend higher in the third. I shared with you yesterday that we could still push a little higher. I shared with you 2 micro counts, white and yellow. It's just assuming wave 4, it's a smaller degree wave 4, finished here on Monday, and then depending on how we count the move up, we expected, I think, a move up in both scenarios. That happened possibly here overnight, one more high, but I think it could still push higher. And especially in the white count, we can push quite a bit higher. So in the white count, we're only dealing with wave 4 at the moment, of larger degree wave 3. Then we can get another 5, then we get another 4, and we get another 5. So that's sort of how the white count could play out. In the white count, micro support is $59.30. So as long as that level is holding, the white count can continue to push higher and reach those next targets to the upside. We're really dealing with a very small level. Normally, I don't really want to go into this kind of lower degree wave counting, yeah, because people try to really see it as predictive. It's not really, it just tells us what is the level that needs to break to take away the impulsive potential of the move. Then it will just get more risky, but further upside will then not be invalidated. Further upside in the current structure will be invalidated with a break below Monday's low. So we talk about $51.11. And if it then breaks below 49, that would be the confirmation that we are in the larger degree fourth wave. So it's a level, it's cascading probabilities below 59.30. It is a first indication that we are coming down. Below the Monday low, it's further confirmation, but it's really confirmed below $49.40. Yeah, I mean, if it then still moves up, I mean, anything is possible. It's all about probabilities, but we're always trying to find the most probable pathway. If you see this, I mean, maybe it's going to form some kind of a head and shoulders here, right? That's very premature to assume that. But we have potentially a left shoulder, a head, and if it then forms maybe a right shoulder, see, and that could then take us down into the orange box for a nice fourth wave pullback for anybody who's looking for an entry, maybe to trade the wave 5. So that's just sort of a possible pathway, actually also a probable one, but first of all, it needs to show us signs of exhaustion. So I did read some comments of people who went short already and things like that. See, over the years, I've learned that it's not good to enter a short trade prematurely, okay? Because, you know, how do you know that the downtrend has begun? I mean, what are you shorting against, okay? People who are shorting a third wave rally often get wrecked. You know, it's just sort of something to consider. I'm not telling you what to do, but you don't really want to enter a short trade prematurely. We're in an uptrend, okay? And first, you need to see some kind of a support level break to understand that the uptrend is over. Then it is possible to short into a corrective rally, which would then be the setup for the breakdown. But just shorting into an active uptrend is like catching the falling knife, just the other way around, yeah? You normally don't, it's just even more risky. Because if you set your stop loss wrong, basically, you have basically unlimited losses, depending on if you have your risk management in place. I mean, you can always short against the last high. It's just, is it a good setup? But normally it's wise. It's a wise idea to let first a support level break. But yeah, that should give you all the relevant levels to watch for today. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.